And Neil folds. We've been at literally hundreds of finals, and so often the first frame of the evening session is massively important.
Yeah, especially for John Higgins, of course. He can't afford to fall 3 behind it the way that Mark Selby is playing, so we'll take a watching brief and just enjoy. Right, it wasn't quite a shot to nothing red because he never had the half ball angle, and then as you saw, the red travelled up further to the bulk end and the cue ball, so he didn't want that first up.
Mark Selby was so deeply in the groove this afternoon. With a chance like this, you'd fancy him to make plenty.
One.
But that session finished nearly 3 hours ago, Neil.
Yeah, exactly. We don't quite know that any player can continue on those lines. The game is not that easy. Not as easy as these two made it look. That's a good collision into the bunch, but I don't know too many reds pot to left corner, if any.
6.
Yeah, I mean, you can't say that he didn't make a good connection with the bunch, because he certainly did. Looks like he's going to left middle, a thin cut, which is not what he was looking for. Good shot, though.
7.
It's quite difficult to get the cue ball out of bulk on that shot. You're using right-hand side, which checks the cue ball off that second cushion, but he's just about done it.
When Mark Selby won the most recent of his 22 ranking titles,
10.
it was at the Mattioli Arena in Leicester. Only 100 people were in for the final day. Before that, it was behind closed doors. This is very different. Superb atmosphere being created by this Cheltenham crowd.
Okay. 11.
Equally splendid, Selby's rest play today. He's making the cue ball talk, and he's potted 9 out of 9.
You know, I'm not sure how good a chance this really is now after that early split, which has tangled up the black. Pink is away from its spot.
16.
And the reds are just awkward, so I think from a session where he made 2 total clearances, you could get about 40 here. That would be a decent break. A lot of it is dictated to by the positioning of the balls.
Thank you. Mark Selby, 60.
Well, Phil, you put a close to his perfect rest play on the day.
Yeah, I feel quite guilty.
To be honest, it was quite a difficult one. He's screwing back and using force. Yeah, I mean, a lot of these two-session finals that are tight, you can get the afternoon session which doesn't reach the heights. Well, today it's the opposite, and it really did. The tension could creep into this evening session if it goes very deep. That's another thing we love about the game, the breaks. But a tight finish is really what makes snooker, I think. These two are fine exponents of a defensive safety game. And that was a good one from John. He's blocked off most of the bunch, the edge of it by the green. I mean, yes, Mark Selby relishes this sort of challenge. Tactical and safety, but it doesn't mean he enjoys being put in trouble. So it's a mistake. Or is it? Because I see Mark just put his hand up. It is a mistake, but he's got away with it.
Yeah, got away with it and inadvertently placed Higgins in trouble.
Not bad. A little pacey. But a good idea, playing cushion first. Clearing the red away from the pocket.
Higgins celebrated his 49th birthday in May. If he wins tonight, he'd be the second oldest ranking event champion. Only Ray Reardon, the late great Ray Reardon, older. But he'll need to cut out shots like that.
Yeah, I think he obviously played around the back of the black, and I expected him to get the shot.
One.
As the red was going towards the pocket, I couldn't make up my mind whether I thought it was in or not. It certainly made Salby anxious. Just about wriggling in.
Eight.
Here we're just rolling into a slightly awkward place. Looks to me that there is a red on with the rest. which it's another red. It's not positionally any certainty that you'll be on a colour. Well, that last fresh shot was the first miss by either player into this same pocket.
Thank you.
Already a bit of an awkward frame, isn't it? Even the red going up the table, blocking the blue to the green pocket. And the pink is a very acute angle. Left middle, there won't be much pocket there available. You can drop it in perhaps. Gently.
You can coax in shots like that, but you can't be ambitious with the wide ball.
15. Max Selby, 15.
Quite a bad mistake, but he was forcing it, and like you say, from the previous shot, he couldn't get the cue ball off the cushion because pink had to be dropped in.
Yep.
And now John with a red to go at. A different vibe tonight. This is where trophies are lifted. The Clive Everton trophy is up for grabs. The afternoon session was good, but we're coming down to the very important section tonight of the whole week.
Unusually this afternoon, not one frame with a hint of scrappiness. But this one has begun in disjointed fashion.
Thank you. One.
It just crawled into the pocket, but he's on the bottom red. So now, for all Salby's efforts earlier in this frame, John Higgins now has the best chance. It is a good opportunity.
Seven.
Throughout his career, so reliable on the big occasion, John Higgins, but the fact remains
14.
he's been defeated in his last 4 ranking event finals. Often from the verge of victory. Tonight it's a little different. He's the one doing the chasing.
Yeah, and of course with John's overall record, he's a born winner. So he's one of the players who fits into the category. Losing in a final is just a loss. Stephen Hendrick was like that, Steve Davis. It didn't mean very much losing in the final. Not taking positives from anything like that. pushing the black safe, not in John's interest.
21.
We so often talk about the famed class of 1992. That was the year when Ronnie O'Sullivan, Mark Williams and this man, John Higgins, all turned professional. In this tournament last year, Salby fell victim to Williams.
28.
Higgins hoping to do exactly the same. It's a class that refuses to go into recess.
Doesn't like it. He's shaking his head. He wanted to be a little straighter
34.
on this red. I think he wanted to be able to
35.
play in behind the black and attack the reds to the left of the black. Anyway, maybe a minor blip.
Forty. Forty-one.
Well, he played on that bed, but he didn't mean to
47.
graze it on the way through. He just changed the path of the cue ball. It's very tight now as to whether it goes. Just glanced it. So it's got to play away here and up the table. Break comes to a fairly abrupt end, but
John Higgins, 47.
it was all about fractions there. Yeah, I mean, if you see, the left-hand red is he's played on, but he just hits it. And that means the cue ball goes in behind the other red unplanned. It's a game of fractions, isn't it? He was going well there. Tiniest deflection made all the difference.
Another piece of tactical magic from Selby.
Well, yeah, because obviously Higgins has got to play one of the safer reds, because you can see one of those. The red in the middle of the table is blocked. Very hard to get a thin edge on a red that's tight on a cushion like this, if that's what he decides to play. The red can go as far up the table as the cue ball if you get too much of it. Well, it's pretty good. He has left a half ball shot to nothing red.
Eight out of 10 from distance. Very good indeed. But with hampered cueing. Getting the cue ball into the safety zone. That made sense. And that made sense as well, Neil.
Yeah, hit it particularly well. Again, the two reds look completely blocked off right now. So it's a question of, does he take another 7 points? Just think it'll do very well to get close to the reds putting his next colour. You have to force it if he's going to do that with the rest. Goodness, this would be a difficult shot. Done well. He's not made the cannon, but he, not being noted as one of the great rest players, made a good try to move a red there.
8. John Higgins, 8.
It won't stopping Higgins. This won't stop him feeling a little vulnerable, because Salby is well accustomed to counter-attacks, but a 24-point lead the way the balls are, that's quite healthy. The yellow in particular very much in favour of the Scot.
Could be that he didn't really mind that much hitting the pink. Chance that he might put it on the cushion. Clearly didn't mean to, but it wouldn't have been a disastrous outcome. He'll be very good at defending frames like this when he's the player in front. He's almost chasing the frame, though, from behind.
This is the lengthiest frame of the match so far, superseding the first frame this afternoon. Now there you can see their average shot time. That's, I think, pretty much on the mark. Just where you want to be. Not too fast, not too slow. Measured. That's a good word for that. 25 seconds.
Well, these two aren't and never have been slow players. Sometimes the frames will go on a while because of the standard of safety. But players on the tour into the 30 to 35 second average shot times, they're the culprits really. It's a little slower than it should be. It's very unlike Selby. He was just pushing it to the left cushion and hit too much of it.
One.
Having been gifted that red, Higgins needs the blue and the last red.
Yes, you can roll this down the cushion into the pocket.
6.
Got to place the rest underneath the cushion here, so it's slightly awkward. Played it at a very good pace, very comfortable pace.
7.
The frame he probably had to win in the context of the whole match, and he found a way of doing so. Not necessarily
14.
a pretty frame, but one that Higgins has got under his belt.
John Higgins 14 and the frame.
It was the least fluent frame of the entire match. Needs this one to get back onto level terms. This is the 25th staging of the British Open. Came onto the snooker calendar in 1985. Tonight, whoever wins out of these two will be the 16th world champion to lift the trophy. They'll be the 16th either current or former world number one to lift the trophy. It's an event that sees the cream rise to the top on a regular basis.
As ever, John will come down, look down the left side to see if there's anything that he can make into a plant of any description. There are 3 reds that he's quite interested in fact. Looks as if he's going to miss to the right side, but maybe he's thinking about, as much as potting one, be to get that cue ball back and hope the reds don't stay close to the pocket. Now he's looking at the bottom 2 reds. It's got more about it than the 3-ball plant that he first looked at. Good cue ball. Well, that's quite a bad error for Salby. He made one in the previous frame, pushing that red to left middle, which cost him. This, he certainly hit the red much thinner in contact than he wanted to. If indeed he hit the right red at all. So he's not bossing the safety exchanges this evening, Salby.
Five. Six.
Screwing back to provide the angle that could lead to big things.
very solid connection with the bunch.
11.
I always say, you see the cue ball doesn't really leave the middle of the table, which means you've really got into them.
Higgins views the British Open with fondness. He won this in 1995, beating Ronnie O'Sullivan in the final, but it was his success in 1998 that was most impactful. He overcame Stephen Hendry in the final, 9-8, and a few weeks later went on to win the World Championship.
17.
And with Hendry losing in the first round that year, it meant that Higgins ended Hendry's almost decade-long reign as world number one. And it all started, that run to the pinnacle, all started at the British Open.
$18.
Well, his last two positional shots on a red have not been
23.
right. And if anything, this was worse than the previous one, where he managed to just salvage it. Yeah, I mean, it's quite an awkward shot now. He's queuing over a ball. This could go wrong, and if it does, he will not be pleased.
$24.
Battling to keep this break going. One shot out of position leads to another one. Cue ball just drifting away from the reds naturally here. Well, he won't be pleased. It's just the way that things were going. He felt that dropping a bit out of position, trying to rescue the break, and in the end something has to give.
First black missed by either player today.
One.
It will only be significant, of course, if Salby gets the frame one here, but that was not a well struck shot either. Didn't go in cleanly. Didn't mean to be close to this cushion. Dropping the blue in, the next red at longer range than it might be.
Six. Seven.
Perhaps a role reversal of the previous frame where Salby was in first, but not a big break
14.
did he make. Higgins come back to win
15.
it. It's the other way round. Feel that Salby should get himself in front by the end of this break. Higgins still thinking about that positional error. It's led to him missing.
22. $23. $30.
You walk a fine line in this kind of situation. You don't want to rush. But then again, you don't want to be too careful.
31.
You don't want to compromise your own rhythm.
$38.
Two more open reds, then the difficulties begin.
$39.
Yes, he might play the can on the top left-hand red on the cushion here. Certainly both reds on the left cushion he could like to get into play. Played that top one. He's not played it great. Wanted a full ball contact
46.
and be on the red to the right corner. Chance to nudge it again here. Second bite of the cherry. In potting the red along the left side of the table.
$47.
Always say if you play a cannon to move a red from a red, you do sometimes compromise position. That's what's happened. Pot is just, the cue ball's heading somewhere in the region of the top right pocket. Played at pace. And of course the pot is not simple either. One of the
Salby.
things
47.
are the reason he missed. It's a dramatic frame potentially, this one. Worth some oohs and ahs, but trust me, that was not a very easy shot. Now, John, in potting this red, could move the left-hand red on the cushion. Some nerves around tonight, understandably.
Is it going to be a tale of two sessions? You see that so often in finals.
Thank you. 1. $8.
Selby potentially 2 pots away from restoring breathing space.
Thank you. 9.
Yes, it's not easy. It's not dissimilar to the blue that he left over the right middle. Just rolling it again. Well played. So now it is one snooker, which means John will carry on.
16. Mark Salby, 16.
Of course, Higgins must continue. But he's well aware that Selby is arguably the greatest ever player when it comes to escaping snookers. So he'll have to do something special. So Selby 39 ahead, 35 on. That means if Higgins can get one 4-point penalty snooker, then red, black and all the colours, he would force a respotted black. Sounds a tall order because it is one.
It appears he's got the snooker. Selby just taps the table with his cue. He might have to play a swerve here, bring the butt of the cue up, just bend it around the pink ball. Give it too much. If he hits it, he's lucky. Only
Foul.
2 bites
John
at
Higgins'
it.
fault.
And as Phil said, 35, which means he can tie the frame. That's going to take some doing, even though he's got the snooker.
Thank you.
He's got another one, but it wasn't as planned. quite rare to see Selby miss snookers, but I guess that swerve was a little different. She overdid. Now the snooker is in. It looks quite an easy one, but I'm not certain it's as simple as all that. He plays one cushion. As long as he gets beyond the blue, he should hit it. This has got to go, hasn't it? Goodness me, I didn't expect him to finish short.
Foul and a miss.
The miss is called because the fact that Higgins could tie the frame. Very unlike Mark Selby, that last shot. Got the line, not the length.
And now, not having to pot the black off the last red makes the life of John Higgins so much easier. Down the line, presumably.
Well, he might look at it, but surely he's going to just have it placed, isn't he? Must have a very effective shot up his sleeve if he's not. Yes, I think that Mark would hit it the next time, but still have a shot like this anyway, this kind of shot.
Thank you.
He's one of the greats. I just don't really think I understand that last shot. What he was trying to achieve. He'd already had a snooker. A miss was called. Why not just have them put back?
The first frame of the night was settled on the last red. Mark Selby's hoping the second frame of the session is going to be settled on the last red in his favour.
John has lost his concentration, but the last couple of shots surprised me how well he's playing, and he just had a way back into this frame. I wonder if he squandered it. I think it cuts in. If he overcuts it, it goes off the blue. It's thin, but it wins him the frame. Mid-session level. I wonder if the studio team will see it differently to me, but I'm really surprised John didn't have the balls replaced when the miss was called. He was only trying to achieve the same snooker as what Selby was already in.
Six. Eight.
I know the pressure was off there on that yellow, but that's an indication of just how sweetly Salby is cueing.
11.
Two very similar frames to open proceedings on the final night.
Selby 15.
And we're back to square one with Selby 2 in front.
Selby to break.
chief priority for John Higgins to prevent Selby moving 3 in front for the first time.
Well, the evening session's not flowed in the same way that the afternoon did, but of course that is why snooker is what it is. A lot of it's played between the ears, even for great players like these two. That's given him an in early in the frame, that last shot on the Browns. Well played.
Six. $13. $14. Give me a second, John.
And the pink won't go on its own spot, which might actually help him a couple of shots down the line, in that if he plays top side of the blue, it's a different angle into the reds without the pink being there. I mean, he may not play that shot yet, but he'll have to open them in this break if he's to make enough to win the frame.
Thank you. 20.
But you can think of an angle on the blue that would really open the reds up if you could get it from here. Because he's got the red up the table as a insurance if the split doesn't quite work out on the reds in the bunch. Well, he got lucky, but
26.
He tried to open the balls up. He'll probably be doing the same again soon. Trying anyway.
27.
We saw his face as he was contemplating that black.
34.
I think that eventuality was on his mind. It was a much easier pack to go into off the blue than off the black.
Just going to say exactly that, Phil. Yeah, he missed the real chance to get them open when he just overdid it on that other blue. And as you say, he was forced to play it that way. Doesn't look much fun, does it? played 2 air shots here, but as we
John
always say
Higgins,
at this stage
34.
in golf, it's a foul or penalty. In snooker, it isn't. Yeah, I mean, a little smile, but he'd be annoyed because he got in quite well there. Handy lead, but not a huge one. Ben Williams enjoying himself out there.
Touching ball.
He just fleetingly talked about golf there, Neil. How about this when John Higgins first won the British Open? It was 1995. Back then, Tiger Woods was the US amateur champion. Another indication of his longevity.
Thank you.
Very good shot. I know he had a touching ball and it seemed plain sailing, but not necessarily to get the cue ball where he's landed it. Now Selby wouldn't dare play a safety shot, I don't think, anyway, up to the bulk end with the red between the brown and blue that could possibly be left. But what will he do? That's the question. There's no obvious hiding place on the table.
Well, of course, in the first frame today, backed into a corner after missing the reds twice, he knocked in an absolute cracker. This time, though, just waiting, biding his time as he does so well.
Yeah, I mean, he actually did potentially leave a red on, but the other red hit it, which, even as good as he is, I'm not sure he knew that was going to happen. John could easily play a safety shot off that red on the left cushion, but even with 34-point lead, he wouldn't really want to bring it into play. Well, that's not dissimilar to something that happened this afternoon. He made a safety error, which didn't seem that bad at the time, which cost him, and that same expression was on his face.
Yeah, this shot is almost a carbon copy of what happened in frame 6. Higgins starting the scoring with 43, but he left a red. Much like this, Selby rifled it in and cleared with 88.
So the green is a bit of a distraction. It's right next to the cue ball. And while it isn't necessarily completely in the way, I have to give John Higgins hope that this is not an easy pot.
To start that frame six clearance, Salby went to top left corner this time, utilising the middle bag.
Green ball.
good shot with quite a bit resting on it.
4.
He couldn't fail to finish on a red, which would have been John's had he missed, of course.
Five.
And that's the worst angle for finishing behind a red from the next shot.
Ten. Mark Salby, 10.
Well, there was a chance, had quite a bit of promise when he knocked in that long green, but it didn't go very far.
The look on Higgins' face is because he made contact with a balk colour. These two play safety to such a high level with tiny tolerances. Hitting balk colours on the way back into balk is something they always try to avoid.
Yeah, the only thing that has gone in his favour is that bulk colour now is in line with the cueing of Selby, and he might look at that left-hand red and just bring that into play with one of his immaculate safety shots. Because the brown is certainly making things awkward for him when that red he wants to play. It's quite a big shot, this. It's only a safety shot, but if you can get the red out and put John Higgins close to a cushion, he might just get the advantage despite being behind. Well, it's okay. Cue ball a little heavy.
And now they both have to mind their P's and Q's because this table is wide open.
No, that was almost the biggest break of the evening. Thankfully, it's not.
The old ones are the best, Neil.
Feeling he's winding himself up to go for this. It's not easy at all. Oh, goodness me.
One.
Wow, what a piece of ball striking that was. That cue ball zipped straight back. Fantastic shot.
The hot shot reel might need a late edit. What a shot that was, especially if it leads to something of huge significance.
Just the most wonderful shot, and in context,
Oh,
as you say, Phil, it could be an absolute gem. And a frame winner if he gets this.
five.
Regardless of the outcome today, I think over the last few days here, Mark Salby has started to cue as well as I've seen him for ages.
12. Thirteen. 20. 21. 28. 29.
So, the long red might have changed the frame. It might have even made a huge difference in the context of the whole match. But that will depend on whether he wins a frame from it, which he's in the process of trying to do.
Because of his defensive wizardry, Salby often forces
36.
opponents into mistakes, which he then takes full advantage of on this occasion. A slice of brilliance has created an opportunity out of nowhere.
Yes, but we
37.
know certain players are better at parts of the game than others. Their strengths, you'd have probably thought might have been a Judd Trump knocking those in, but I mean Selby has hit it so fantastically well. And if he can just get on that last red, which it'll be the last red,
42.
down the cushion, it'll be an absolute frame winner. Game changer.
43.
The first two frames of the night have been resolved on the last red. Effectively,
50.
so will this frame.
worth its weight in gold,
58.
this contribution. It really is. John was in first in this frame.
60.
That's kind of the pattern tonight. Whoever's got in first has not gone on to win the frame.
$63.
I'll say it one more time. It was an incredible red, and John is on the receiving end of it.
$67. $72.
The second shot of the break, the green to middle, was a pressure pot. But
70.
there's no doubt what this frame will be remembered for.
Driving the frame, Mark Selby.
An 85 clearance from Mark Selby, launched by what can only be described as a rip-snorting red. 3 more needed.
Yes, and Higgins will be losing considerable ground if this frame doesn't go his way.
Selby's latest examination of cueing, not passed. But where the red came to rest, he's been fortunate.
Yeah, that was a bit heavy-handed for John. I think straight away he knew that it wasn't played at the pace he meant it to. Very attentive crowd here today, loving this battle between two such great players. Moment, we've got an intruder, I think, on there.
Yeah,
Something.
okay.
Ben Williams has got
No, that's a different one.
a serious problem here. There's something in the middle of the reds that shouldn't be there. I say a serious problem. In the refereeing, oh, that's oh, the balls are being moved. Oh goodness me, who'd be a referee?
Now it's gone.
Who needs all this on their mind?
Well, of course, the
Gone then.
animal is less intimidating for Ben than when he was refereeing at the Masters and there was a bee and he picked it up and you never guess what happened. He got stung. Who would have thought?
One.
He played it as gently as he could, but he still has gone beyond the line of straight on the blue. He's just coming away from the reds. Brown, the wide route round the angles, is a shot you often see played in this kind of position. Probably 4 cushions. Oh, he's missed it by a mile. Just when you felt that he was striding away in this match, he's made the kind of mistake which will bring John back into it. Give him some hope anyway.
One.
Positionally in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't really play it with screw and right-hand reverse side, I don't think. Hit the cue ball up further. Pot would have been a little difficult to be doing that. Playing the green, it's a question of whether he's taking this on. Ben Williams looking to see if there's any kind of a waistcoat foul he's about to make. Well, I mean, what is going on? John's not amused. Yes, he's been fortunate, but he's annoyed about the shot that he played. I don't think it's a difficult one for him to hit, but Mark might have been looking at 2 reds available there. Now he's snookered instead.
Thank you.
So they're not dead set, and also the reds are far enough apart for anything to go wrong. But it will no doubt be played with a view of getting the cue ball back down the table, Brown over the pocket, so the carrot has been dangled. Really, it's worth the risk, I think, this plant. Another terrific shot. That was not an easy plant. The reds wide apart, offline. Exceptional shot, that.
Mark Selby 1.
That could be profitable.
Yeah, I mean, he would like to have been on the brown. Clearly, that's, I think, the reason he played the plant in the first place.
Okay.
But even then, I mean, John has got an area he can land the cue ball in, which he should do, really, but pressure's quite big out there, unsurprisingly.
Foul and a miss. Mark Selby 4. Yeah.
It's going to be a small dividend. Four penalties given away there, but I can't imagine any more will go on Selby's side of the ledger.
Mark. Thank you.
Yes, he's got the line, hasn't he? I mean, he will have it noted. He was on track, but just hit it a little more pacily.
Yeah, John. Yeah. Okay.
Well, there you have it. We're going for a re-rack after all of that. And a quick one.
Yes, with the brown over the pocket, I did actually think it might possibly be one. But of course, nowadays, the players get together, mutually agree on a re-rack, normally very quickly, and that's what occurred there. In the first frame of the semi-final last night between Mark Selby and Mark Allen, it wasn't quick. It was half an hour in, and it wasn't a stalemate situation by any means. They decided to get things underway and have a take-two situation. I think that was a pretty good move.
Well, yeah, with the brown over the pocket, you could have seen a lot of the reds end up in front of it, which can take away a large chunk of your evening without much happening. We've seen it all before, so yeah, probably. I think there was John showing some signs of frustration in that frame that never was. And the equation has not changed. He really has to win this one before they go for their mid-session break, or else he's had not the perfect start by any means to the evening session. You know he's playing well.
12th
Unfortunately
frame.
for him, so is Mark Selby.
John Higgins to break.
There's an interesting dynamic here as Higgins breaks off brilliantly. He knows from bitter personal experience that a 7-4 deficit can be easily overcome. The last time he played in a ranking final, 2022 Tour Championship, Higgins was 9-4 up on Neil Robertson, collapsed and lost 10-9.
Touching ball.
And if you're wondering, has a frame been re-racked twice? The answer is yes, on many occasions.
Hang on a second, I think he's touching. Yeah, touching ball.
And two identical shots from both of these two.
Double and a miss. John Higgins full. Back.
Yeah, I mean back because the likelihood is that, yes, Mark Selby will hit the next one. You think, what's the point of having it back? Well, he might leave touching ball. There's not a great deal to be gained by just playing a shot. Might as well put him back in. I don't think it's going to be very costly for Mark Selby, quite honestly. And he's staying there down that end because in case it's touching again, but this time I don't think it is. It is a very big passage of play coming up though, isn't it, this frame? It just feels that there's such a gulf between the two players at 8-4. It was a safety shot like the others, but it was an attacking one. He knew he was opening reds up, so he thinks he's maybe just got to be a little bit more adventurous with even the safety shots. John Higgins against the Iron Man here, who just will, as we saw last night, wait all evening for a chance if need be. Terrific shot.
One.
Yes, for a point, but might be able to just lay it. A very awkward snooker for John Higgins here. We're looking at trying to cut off escape routes.
Max
I think
Selby.
he has cut a few off there by getting so close in behind the brown.
That's Selby's modus operandi. Doesn't just want a snooker, he wants the most fiendish one imaginable.
Maybe with a trace of left-hand side, he can just play off this left cushion here. A little bit of room behind the brown. Twice across. Well, I think the snooker that Mark Selby, it might not have been the most fiendish imaginable, but it was an awkward one. I suppose if you played it 10 times, you might leave that red over the hole very often, but he has that on that occasion. So very much advantage Selby in the exchange we've just seen.
Thank you.
If we can level one
One.
criticism at Selby this week, on several occasions, when he's had momentum, he's not been able to keep it for a sustained period. Yes, he's found a way in the end to get over the line, but it's taken a while. This afternoon, though, when he started to play well, he continued to do so. And I think it's really crucial
6.
he presses home this obvious advantage.
Seven. 14. $15.
That has not worked out as he planned at
20.
all. He'd be hopeful of being on one, however he hit them. He didn't quite execute the shot as he would hope to in that top red half ball, and just taking the cue ball away from the bunch brought down his chances of being on something quite a lot. So now we're back on trying to leave places on the table where John Higgins will not like to be positioned.
Selby 20.
These two share so many attributes. One of which is when they do surrender position, they just take a moment, assess the situation, don't cry over spilt milk, and think about playing the best possible safety thereafter.
Well, that red will go, but I don't know if you can see enough of it. It can certainly pass the one up the table. It might be looking at the red directly below the pink spot. Either way, he must think something is available to him. I think it's the red by the pink spot indeed. Certainly, it's just been the one thing with Mark Selby where he hasn't been able to just accelerate away from players. That's why he's had so many close finishes. It's very difficult to beat John Higgins in any match. But I don't know if he ever loses a little bit of his focus when he goes in front.
Now can Higgins cue this one on the nose?
One.
There's a big reward now.
Six. Seven.
Well, chances like this have not been coming along that often tonight.
13.
An evening of high-class safety and tactical play. But for now, John
40.
needs to take these.
$19. Thank you. 20.
Well, is he on the black? No, he's not. Goodness. He could have afforded to screw back a little bit too far and had the pink from further up, even the blue if he really misjudged it, but that was the worst outcome. Yes, he's got the pink, and he's got that red up the table, but he's going to have to play it well. This is not part of the original plan, playing up there. Well recovered.
$26.
Ideally, would have liked to retain this red for a rainy day, as it were. But there was no option. He just felt as though playing went on.
26.
He was getting more and more out of kilter. What a bonus for Salby to come back to the table so swiftly.
Yeah, but it does stem back to that shot he played with the rest, doesn't it? Because, yes, he was on the red, but, you know, the pink up the table, all of these things were not what he was hoping for. I think when a player loses position, they gradually
1.
get further out of position. And this was the shot. He could have afforded to go back further with that cue ball because there were so many options, but finishing there, he was limited. Mark Selby will certainly recognise the signs that his opponent is giving off here, and he'll be fully aware of the importance of this visit to the table.
Max Selby full.
Quite amazing, isn't it, how well they played this afternoon.
As the winning line approaches, tension in both cue arms increasing.
What is going to happen next? That could not have finished worse. Whoever loses his frame is going to be very disappointed, even if it is Selby still a couple of frames up. But the cue ball has just landed on top of the two reds. Now he's just having to play safe. Seemed very unlikely.
Johnny Higgins 1.
Very elusive frame, this one, isn't it, now, it seems.
And for all of the high quality we've seen in this match, the way it works, so often, it's the lower quality, scrappy frames that have the biggest psychological impact because, as Neil pointed out, both players know they've had chances. Those chances have been squandered and there's just 6 in it. Everything to play for.
Well, he could only have left the red that he played and missed. Well, Johnny's a master player of doubles, but I don't know if he could make this into one. Could play it into the right middle or double it into the left. I don't know if that's on. Well, it always is with John, isn't it? It didn't look natural. Looks like the cue was a little bit further down the table, but John has been knocking those in for all of his career.
Eight.
Mine's a double, said Higgins, but will it be champagne at the end of the evening?
Nine. $15. 16.
Goodness me, what is he doing? Unless he tried to spot something. The cue nearly went in two there. I can understand his annoyance, but you whack the cue against the cushion rail.
$23.
For a split second there, you saw Higgins. He was petrified. He'd accidentally damaged the cue, a cue he loves. Now, though, he's on the verge of punching a hole in Salby's lead.
Do you know what I'm going to say? I think both players really need their 15 minutes. And that includes John, who looks like he's won this frame because
30.
he's kind of limped over the line in this frame, barring snookers. I'm not sure his concentration is as good as it might have been at the start of the evening.
John Higgins, 30.
So it looks like he's got the snooker, and if he can get the frame one, I think he and Mark will just enjoy a little time to reflect on what we've seen before we get into the final phase at all. I mean, with snooker, right, you think you know what's going to happen next. But that cue nearly ended up in two pieces. And he could have never known that was about to happen. He lost his other cue a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it? He got rained upon at an airport. I think Charles de Gaulle in France, Paris. And it got warped, so now he's got this new cue.
If there's one player you don't want chasing, needing a snooker against you, it is Mark Salby. And the ball's not badly placed to lay a trap. Selby's the one who finds the blue, the blocker.
Yes, and those bolt colours are very appealing. That's the worry for John, that he hasn't quite put this frame to bed yet, because the 3 bolt colours like that, it's a huge target for any player, but certainly someone with the defensive skills of Mark Selby. I'm sure that one will be good enough to get the 4-point penalty, if it is a snooker, which I'm sure it is. But either way, yeah, this has been a strange frame. It wouldn't rule out another twist somewhere.
Yeah, I think it's been the most nervy frame of the entire match. The 9th frame was the lengthiest of the match, but that's been eclipsed by this one. Higgins, though, has a clear path to this red. And that should be that. Selby enjoyed a 2-frame lead starting the evening's
5.
play.
7.
It remains exactly the same. The first 4 frames of this session
10.
have been shared. We've gone from the
14.
brilliance of this afternoon to the battle of this evening.
$19. 25 in the frame. John Higgins.
Maybe.
The chance for 8-4, 7-5, with, of course, 10 the target to become champion. So this now the fight to the finish. 2 players well used to winning tournaments. John Higgins has won 54 professional titles. Mark Selby 37. But have both waited a while for their last ranking success. So whoever comes through at the finish, it's going to be a big night for them. We just saw the Champion of Champions trailer. John Higgins has been an ever-present in that since the first staging in 2013. He's not in it yet this year. Mark Selby and Judd Trump, in fact, the only other two players who played in every one of those.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can either player step it up? Maybe that both do. John Higgins needs to right now. 7-5 down.
One.
His highest break tonight, just 47. But the night's not done yet. He's in. He's had the 15 minutes. I think they both appreciated that chance to get out of the arena.
Yeah, John just considering whether to have a pass at the pink and the reds, try and get something in play. Yeah, that's probably the correct decision. You know, try and build a lead.
6. Seven.
Yeah, okay, he's on a
12.
choice of a couple, but none very appealing. I actually think he didn't go in because he's got that wry look in his face, like, yeah, that's what I felt was going to... It's one of those nights, isn't it? One of those sessions, unlike this afternoon. Players do get that. They get a vibe and a feeling going into the pack that, you know, if you don't have a good vibe about it, you tend to shy off. A tough one.
He's also a tough one, though, isn't he? John Higgins, 30 years since he won the first of his 31 ranking titles. 3.5 years since the most recent success. He's lost in 7 of his last 8 ranking finals. But there's no disgrace in that. You're always going to be playing another top player, another player in form. Of course, there were a couple of close ones he failed to close out. That was the start of a few problems he's had. Henty dropped out the top 16 a week ago, but we know he's already back in, just reaching the final here.
15.
And if he's going to come good at any point, it's going to be at this part of the tournament, isn't it? When you have to. He's done that so many times before.
$16.
I know one thing, if he wins tonight, that baggage handler Charles de Gaulle Airport. Might get a little bottle of wine or something, because oddly enough, his old cue getting wrecked. Done him a favour. He loves this new one.
Just not happening when he plays into them. Yes, he's still got one, but awkward
20.
cueing it. It's going to depend on how centre he can get to the cue ball. Yeah, it's hampered badly. Gonna have to go extremely high on the cue ball to find as much centre of it as possible. See how high that is. His tip there at address.
Yeah, just the little things he needs to be going for him are not at the moment. So it's a little sort of mental test to accept that and try and stay focused.
Green ball. John Higgins, 22.
Yeah, disappointed, but at least he leaves the table giving Mark a problem. He was wise enough, as always, to keep the cue ball central. When you do that, it gives your opponent, when the reds are like this, it gives them less to work with as far as getting the cue ball back to bulk. Yeah, I don't even think that's an option. It may be that he's got to have a mini gamble and just try and leave the cue ball in the corner. He's attempting the return. No, almost playing what you call the old Ray Reardon shot, the in-off. If it goes in, you actually don't mind. But played it as well as could be expected. Yeah, there's the tap. Call that the Ray Reardon shot. It was one of those. He was a sly old fox. The great Ray Reardon. And he would play that shot and go off and pretend to look disappointed when he actually played it.
Ray Reardon, the oldest ranking event winner at 50. John Higgins tonight, if he wins, would become second oldest. Turned 49 in May. Ray's record's going to go, isn't it? I think we know the candidates. I know 3 of them who could take it in the next year or so. Of course, Mark Williams won the Tour Championship just a few weeks after turning 49 earlier this year. Ronnie O'Sullivan will be that age in December. Yeah, he got away with that one. Raises his hand to acknowledge it. It was all very free-flowing this afternoon, wasn't it? But perhaps inevitably it's become a more tense affair this evening as we get nearer to the business end of this whole tournament. Yeah, so mistake from Higgins. Salby coming up to 26 minutes. There you go, since his last pot.
Well,
Well, if he's going to get close to a red, he's going to need all his reserves of power with his shot. Oh, that is a fabulous shot. It really is. And if the black goes, which I'm pretty certain it does, this might be a better chance after this next shot. But that was pure class, that brown.
six.
It's been 18 months since his last success in a ranking event, but maybe the talk of the sort of drought is a little overstated
13.
because he's actually won a ranking event every year since 2014. It's the longest current run of any player in terms of winning one every year.
14.
It's just there are so many, aren't there? You know, if you go a few without success, people start to notice, I guess.
Twenty.
2 in 1 shot this time. Try and flick the red half ball. The right side of it, obviously. If you miss it, pink is waiting.
$21.
Just didn't judge the pace of it.
27. Okay. 28. $34. Mark Selby, 34.
That annoyed him. There was some hard work still to come in this frame, but that miss frustrated him.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
This final's following a similar path to last year's British Open final. Mark Williams got the better of Mark Selby 10-7. It was a score fest in the afternoon, and then in the evening, of the 9 frames, there were only a couple of 60-odd breaks, so the scoring dried up then as well. Oh, John, foul 7 if the black... Oh, wow.
Foul.
That is a major mistake.
Mark Selby, 7.
Really is. So Mark Selby, helped by the 7 points, 19 in front.
1.
Yeah, 19 and 3 pinks is 40, so looking for one of the reds on the cushion.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like a difficult
7.
match, but it's not through want of trying. They've still been attacking. It's just that mistakes have crept in. It must be to do with the fact that, you know, there's a big title on the line, and it is big, despite all they've won between them. When you've gone a while without one, it's a big prize to land and really give yourself an injection of confidence going forward the rest of the season.
8.
For Selby, of course, he's already in the Champion of Champions. He did win the Championship League, but the Players' Series, that would be certainly the first couple of events of that would be locked down for him. But also he's been looking to enjoy snooker again, and of course, it's just a fact.
14.
You enjoy it more when you're winning.
$15.
No heroics here. Dead straight would be absolutely fine.
$21. $22.
Yeah, absolutely made sure. Quite rightly, 2 snookers needed.
Pink ball.
Yeah, that's a massive help as well. 47 in front now. So
28.
okay with the red on. The free ball is a possibility, but Mark Selby, well, he may be snookered himself, but still a big favourite.
Mark Selby, 28.
It was a big error from Higgins to catch that black the way he did.
Frame conceded. Frame
John's
max
seen
out.
enough of that frame. So again, lifting this British Open title. John Higgins has got to try and cut out the errors that simply weren't there this afternoon. Although he was 5-3 down, he played outstandingly well himself. But the breaks have dried up tonight. It's been a more disjointed affair. There's still time for that to change. For Higgins, though, it'll have to be soon.
Another fabulous pot. It's almost the hallmark of how well a player is cueing. It's such a difficult shot that to even get close to the pot, in all honesty. And he's looking to press ahead with the long
ball.
straightish green. Oh, that's superb. That is wonderful. It really is. And there was no hesitation. Didn't even think about the safety shot.
Full.
Yeah, reminiscent actually of this afternoon, the quality that we saw, as David said. Really is. When he gets in form, this fella, he's unplayable.
Yeah, there have been several times in this tournament where he's gone on the offensive, he's pressed. We saw it last night, actually, with Mark Allen after that seemingly interminable re-rack in frame one. Straight away when the frame actually started again, he was on the attack. And maybe at 8-5, a little bit more breathing space. This is the time now. He's sensing he can all but get the match won. Of course, he had all those deciders earlier in the tournament. He is sort of known for them. He'd much rather win more comfortably.
No, that was a fabulous shot as well. What it means is that he's pretty much guaranteed the low black
18.
now, almost picking his spot from the left wing to meet the right half of the pack, I would imagine. They're going deep on the cue ball.
19.
Okay, so there's the low black. I mean, as far as going deep and getting the cue ball spinning through them, he's the man for the job, but boy, there's a lot of reds to get through. See? Oh, wow. What a shot that is. Not many players in the game could get the cue ball spinning the second time. Watch this. Once, twice, actually 3 times. Wonderful shot.
$27. $32. $33.
The action he gets on the cue ball is largely because of the length of the backswing. Just watch it when he plays a shot with any power. It's so long. I mean, he's a big fella, so he actually disguises it well. But it comes all the way back.
$39.
See, he's able to get the cue ball spinning that bit better when he's near his best. Also gives you such a wider range of shots. Looking at the cannon, so he must be playing it because there's no loose red to play on. Almost try to find the gap through them, just there. Perfect.
$44. $45. $50. $51.
So he has engineered a wonderful opportunity to get to within one of victory. Talk about his form and, you know, a slight title drought, but of course he has had off-table issues which he's opened up about
56.
that have obviously affected his game. think for Mark Selby, though, and it's been true since he was a boy, the snooker table, has always been a haven away from the outside world. It's where he almost feels the most comfortable.
$57.
One of the great champions in any era. He could have competed in any era that you can pick with this all-round game he's got. Tactical nous, his potting, his shot making, his break building, his temperament. And it seems it's all coming together again here. So as you see, this is the ball that should get him to 9-5 and to the brink of victory in this British Open final. This has been another masterful break. This is the sort of snooker he was playing this afternoon.
$71.
He's already made two
72.
total clearances in this match, 137 and 135 this afternoon. You did say, Alan, at the start of the week we were chatting backstage that you thought he was playing well. You'd noticed it as the
79.
season had gone on.
Yeah, well, I was lucky to spend quite a bit of time with Mark last week in Brentwood at the English Open
80.
and chatted to him, basically chatting snooker and his form, how he's feeling, how he's playing. And there was an awful lot of good stuff in there. Ultimately, he had a terribly disappointing result in the quarter-final to Ishpreet Singh Chadha 5-4 on the black. But I seen enough and also spoke to him enough to kind of feel that this might be
82.
in the offing. I think one other thing that I kind
83.
of suggested at the end of this afternoon with a chat with Rob, I kind of suggested that John's got to be careful when he breaks off, leaving the half ball red. He did it in frame 8 and Mark made a 137. He did it in this frame, the exact same break off, and this is the result of
85.
that. Not a lot John can do about it, granted.
$86.
But isn't it good, David, to see him play like the champion we know he is?
Absolutely. He's been such an important figure in the sport the last decade and more. Just his attitude to the game,
91.
the respect he has for it as well, because he was never given anything, Mark Selby. He had to work for it. He's still working. That may have been a kick. He's staring at the cue ball accusingly because he's been denied another century. So Selby went on the front foot there and it worked. Can he now put the match away? John Higgins, of course, will have other ideas, but it suddenly seems a long way back, doesn't it? First time there's been a 4-frame gap.
Yeah, John has trailed 9-5 in big finals before and prevailed. But this seems like a mammoth task ahead of him. What does he have left? I hate to say it, but there's a tinge of resignation about John's face there. He's not giving in, not by a long shot. But Mark Selby, like all the great champions, is a tremendous finisher in finals. Oh, look at this cue ball. I mean, I know it's not the most difficult shot ever, but it's almost effortless, quite honestly. And just when the winning line is beginning to present itself, that's when so many times in the past he truly comes alive.
Twelve. 13.
Yeah, here it is then. No problem with, as we know, the power into the three together and get the cue ball spitting back towards them. Just fabulous. It really is. That is awesome. All right, his next shot's going to be awkward, but look at the spread. If this next shot goes correctly,
20.
they're going to be all there for him.
It's just so awkward to get to, but he's played it superbly. So this is a serious chance now, as Alan says, to get it won. Of course, he hasn't qualified for the next event in Wuhan in China at the weekend, but this will more than ease the blow of that.
$28. $29.
I think Mark Selby's a player who's been massively misunderstood and misrepresented actually over the years as a slogger and a grinder. If you've watched today's final, you'll have seen the different levels to his game, the different facets to it, including the scoring, the shot making, and in situations like this, the bottle as well.
$36.
Because everyone has their favourite styles and favourite players, and preferences on how they like to see snooker played.
37.
But you know what? What's not boring? Winning.
$42.
He took a little time out in the last frame on about 20 odd just to get his mind on the order that he wanted to take the red colours. And he's kind of done the same just then. He was kind of going round looking at things that weren't really there. They weren't really a thing. Because it, stun the red in, you get a straight pink. But he's that smart and clever. I was talking about
The second man,
the late great Ray Reardon disguising things when he was playing. It's a trait that Mark Selby also has. Even there, just clean the white, please, referee, or the pink's going to be spotted. So he backs off, little time out, sip of water, just keep everything nice and calm.
Yeah, it's a good comparison. I mean, Ray Reardon, he would use sort of laughter, wouldn't he, to his advantage. It'd be all smiles and then suddenly go for the jugular. We saw a little bit of that last night with Selby after the re-rack. It was all laughing and joking. Next minute, a long red had flown in. He won the frame. Another legend that we lost earlier this year, Ray Reardon.
$50.
Truth is, we're all standing on the shoulders of giants. One day they'll be naming trophies after this man.
$55.
Shouldn't be a problem because any angle on the next black, even straight, is absolutely fine.
$56.
There you are. He's pretty much straight, but the red to right centre, if he wants it, will do nicely. Just another time out, a little breather, because he knows he's almost there. But as is his way, he typically plays a shot that certainly
63.
I know Stephen Hendry believes, and I do too, that he's the best in the game at that shot. Red and a simple blue to follow. And he's going to be the champion.
64.
Yeah, at the end of last season, Mark Selby was very disappointed to lose in the Tour Championship. First round of the World Championship, was talking about possibly retiring. Thank goodness he didn't. Because when you can play like this, why wouldn't you want to carry on? He's so tough. He's proved it again. Barring snookers, this is for the title.
$69.
Would love this in, just to, you feel, confirm it. And it goes.
70.
And now the relief. will descend. John Higgins, a week ago, dropped out of the top 16 after 29 years. The obituaries were being written for his career. Typical Higgins, he got back in after a week, but he'll still be disappointed, of course, not to get his hands on the trophy. But what can you say about the man at the table? What a warrior he is, what a fighter, what a player, full stop. We saw a week ago at the English Open, Neil Robertson return after a barren spell. These great players do not stay down for long. Their resolve, their determination
81.
comes back to the fore again, as it has done this week for Mark
82.
Selby. Remember, he had 4 deciders, some of them very close, that he had to survive. But he played really well last night in the semi-finals, even better in the first session this afternoon, and again at the end of this match to get it won. 91 in
87.
the last frame, and whatever this finishes up as.
$88. $93.
He wins a century. He'll settle for 93.
Selby 93.
Mark Selby ends an 18-month wait for a world ranking title.